Hello everyone. In this video we'll be looking at the scene graph manager, how you can use it to get the active scene graph, as well as some handy methods that are included, and how to manipulate the locations. So if I type in scene graph manager, you see there's a few options here. We're going to be looking at explode path, get parent path, and the big one, get active scene graph. Let's start off with explode path. It asks you for a location. I've already got a variable of path, which is looking at the location of root world geocam. Let's add that in and run this code. And what it will do is give us all of the parent locations. So root world geo, and the location of root world geocam. Let's store that in a variable of exploded path. Okay, and then let's run the next one, which is get parent path with our path. And all that will do is give us the parent location of that. So one up is root world geo. And we can store that as parent path. Okay. We can even explode the parent path as well. So we could say exploded parent path equals scene graph manager dot explode path parent path. Okay, let's now store our active scene graph in a variable called active scene graph. So we'll do our scene graph manager dot get active scene graph. And now if we do active scene graph dot, you can see there's a lot of options here. What we'll do is we'll start off with the get option. So we've got get bookmark set, for example, and from there we'll be able to branch off and look at some of these others. So get bookmark sets. So what happens if we run that? It returns 3 sets. So the first set is a list, and this list is all of the open locations. So you can see that root world and root world geo are open. So we've opened that, and that. Next, it's all of the selected locations. So root and root world geo. Yep. And the last one is all pinned locations. And I've only pinned one location, which is this env house. Okay, now what we can do is clear all these bookmark sets. And that will clear everything out. So we no longer have anything open, we no longer have everything selected, and we have no pin locations. Expand this out now. You can see that nothing is selected and the env house is no longer pinned. So I can just right click on here, add my pin again, and select new locations again. Go back to active scene graph and our next get option. And that's get implicit resolvers active. If I run this, it will tell me true, my implicit resolvers are active, and you can see implicit resolvers are active here is on. And then I can change it by using set implicit resolvers active, and I can change this to false, for example, and it turns off. Okay. Next, in our get options, we have get open locations. So this will just return all locations that are open. So we've got root world and root world geo. If you want to open a location, we can use open locations, and we can give it our path, and that will open our root world geocam. So we'll open this up to find out what's inside that. And there's our camera. Okay, now about if I were to have all this closed down and then I run this, nothing happens. Now the reason for that is if I do active scene graph get open locations again, you'll see I have root world geocam, but no root world geo. So what we could do is we could do this all closed down and do active scene graph dot open locations. Instead of giving it one place, we could give it a list of locations, and we could give it our exploded path. Now we'll open all of those locations, including our cam location. Now if we just wanted to open to cam location, so open root world geo, then we could use our loaded parent path. Okay, and that's just opening up to geo. See that if I get open locations again. Got root world geo. Oh, still got root world geo cam. Where's that? Did I not close it? Oh, I think I might not have closed it. Let's try that again. Need more. So if we run this, it opens all the way up to root world geo, and you'll be able to see that if you hit open locations, root world geo. Now there is actually another option, and that is ensure location is visible. What we can do again is close this down and just give it a path. It will open everything to make sure you can see the camera. Okay, so that's pretty handy. Like the cam group, the actual camera. Okay, and then we can also clear our open locations as well. Everything will close down. And we can close locations as well. So we can close, so say for example, this is open, close that path and close it. Okay. Now we also have pin locations, so we can get pin locations. And we have our env house pinned, and we can add pin location. So let's add path, or we could use the add pin locations to add a list of paths. And then we can remove pin location or remove pin locations. Okay, next we have get selected locations. We've currently got root world geo selected, select a few. So this could be really handy if you want to write some code that can run across selected locations, and that will allow the user to choose what locations it wants to run on. So you could maybe write a script that isolates all the locations that are selected, for example. Okay, and then I'll set location selected. Okay, set location selected. So if you want to remove a selected location, you can use that, and then you say path and then false. And there you go, it's no longer selected. Why it's got these extra ones in it that you can't use. It's a bit confusing. Now this is handy as well. So you can have selected locations that you can't see. So if I close this down, you can't see that this procedural is selected underneath it. And you can get only the visible selected locations. And if I run that, we have root world geo versus get selected locations, which gives us root world geo and root world geo procedurals. Okay, and check if places are open or pinned or selected, visible. You can say if it's not visible, then make it visible, ensure invisible. And you've also got the selection history. So if we go backward in our selection history, we could go back to what was previously selected and forward. Okay, and that's it.